Hi, Jennifer. Jennifer.
Hello. Hello, other
Obviously,
Jennifer.
I'm not saying hi to myself. Um, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks. I'm doing great as always.
I'm really happy to have the chance to talk to you, to spend some time talking to you today. Um, Women's History Month, always a a really interesting month to have these conversations. I'm really happy to have the conversation with you, both from your perspective as Actua's National Programs Manager, including the National Girls Program, but also as a practitioner, as an author of the STEM Girl.
Thanks so much for having this conversation with me. I always love talking to you, Jennifer, because I always feel like it's girl power to infinity, and I'm like Jennifer, and the two Jennifers together could change the world. You've been leading this for over 25 years, which I don't even know how I don't know what the landscape looked like when you started it. What inspired the creation of
Hmm.
actually the National Girls Program, and how have you seen it change and evolve over the years?
So, from a factual perspective, a couple of things. I mean, the National Girls Program for me started before I even came to Actua. I was working in New Brunswick. I was working um, in an outreach program just locally where we had engineers, female engineers in particular, matched up to go into local classrooms. I wanted to start like a girls' club and was just met with so much resistance within at the time, the engineering like whole association. So that infuriated me. And so then I came into the Actua fold and we looked at the numbers. So not to get into Actua history, but there had been programs running across the country before I came in and Actua was created. And over that 5 year period, the participation rate of girls in our co-ed camps had gone down in 5 years over year. Like you could see the graph. And that was super alarming because a whole goal of the organization was to get, both girls and boys at the time, engaged. And our number of girls were going down. So that was like, to me, that was like a five alarm, like we have data over 5 years. HP at the time, Hewlett Packard was like super open to like wanted to tackle this topic as well, gave us a big initial investment, and we started these all girl programs across the country, and then there was just like a huge appetite. The motivations never stopped, and I always thought, I remember like 5 years in being like, okay, when we get to this point, we're not going to need this anymore. Like the whole objective here is to put ourselves out of business, and that has not happened yet. So I think so much has changed over those years, and so much progress has been made, but not enough progress and not enough change.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting to hear what the reactions were when you wanted to start that and the progression, because we might not see the cause and effect. But when I wanted to start the STEM Girl to talk about more girls in engineering, my entire faculty was so excited, including the men, the women, and
Oh, good.
just to see that change, just that slight shift in thought process or the level of importance that this has is really inspiring. I am really inspired by what you've said, just to see that that means a part of it is working, right? We're changing minds, although slowly it's working even just a little.
Absolutely. There's no question in my mind that it's working. That early on, we were able to figure out that there was like a an identity issue. There was a who fits into who can do science. You might enjoy it. And we were doing a really good job at getting girls to see how it impacted them, to enjoy it, to have confidence in it. But then to like see themselves in it was a whole thing. And that's why I think the work that you're doing, and I'd love to hear both from STEM Girl and from the work on the ground. Like that work on the ground has changed so that we can put girls in an environment
Yeah.
where they do imagine themselves in the future. They can see them specifically, being in these jobs. Can
Yeah.
you talk about that?
Yeah, I think one of the things that's evolved is not just the way we do programming, but the vocabulary we use and what we're saying. So a sense of STEM identity, I think, is something that our network members really focus on, are really incredible at. And I'm going to use a Dr. Seuss quote here. He had a quote that says, sometimes you never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory. And I
Mm.
think that's what we're doing incredibly well at Actua. We're creating moments with such high impact and with such relationship to what girls understand and what their everyday lived experiences look like, that we're creating those moments that in the future, when it comes time to choose a career, when it comes time to face that failed course, that moment turns into a memory that turns into a sense of will and a sense of grit that sees you through some of the difficulties that come through in STEM. And that piece of STEM identity where you think perhaps this isn't for me, you can almost pull back and lean on that memory, that fun experience, that unique experience. And I would say that's something that we are so incredibly good at Actua. So for example, we have our Red Deer Polytechnic, our Red Hot Science network member who runs their program called Aunties in Training. And it's really about Indigenous knowledge. And it's about teaching young women about hide tanning and plant dyes and the chemistry of plants. But within that, they get this sense of who doesn't want to learn from their auntie, right? Who doesn't want to
Yes.
learn that wisdom from the person that you look up to?
It's always been about, reflecting their current realities and not telling them what the reality is, because I have a very personal uh, stake or experience. Like I have a daughter in high school who's making all the choices. So all of a sudden, I've worked in this space for 2 decades saying, like, keep these doors open, make sure you take these courses in high school. And I see all of her friends, all of them, who were like, yeah, I'm not taking any science classes, or maybe one math, but not any more math. They're being put in a situation, and I think very unnecessarily, where they're making a choice in grade 10 that impacts what they do in university. And we're giving them super mixed messages about, don't worry, you have lots of time to decide. You don't have to decide yet. Well, yeah, actually, you did decide in grade 9 and grade 10, because it's really hard to get back on this path in the future. So it's like just these tiny things, right?
Yeah, I think it's like you said, it's all rather complicated and it's about those levers that we can pull, right? And one of the things that I think just hearing you speak about your own experiences with your daughter, one of the things that I think we don't focus so much on, but seems to be um, bubbles beneath everything we talk about is risk taking and risk analysis. But there's risk in all these things. And I think that is something that sometimes young girls are scared to do, is take a risk either on themselves or the risk that you might fail or the risk that you might be bad at something. And I think risk analysis is something where I see a way that you can, it's a small lever that I think that could make a big difference.
Tell me, just to round this up, what are you excited about going forward with the National Girls Program, and what are you worried about?
I'm always worried we'll go backwards. It's why I think I will never stop this work. Like
You
for
have to.
forever.
That's
Yeah.
an essential part of social justice work. You have to have worry, but it can't be paralyzing. The worry has to be motivating, right? But that worry is really important. So I think it's a positive.
Yeah.
And what
And
I'm excited about.
what I'm excited about, I'll say two things. One of the things I'm really excited about is having male allies, just like really support you and you can't beat it. Like, because sometimes you're not sure of yourself. I have brothers who are so supportive. They're always just like, Jen, the only thing holding you back is yourself and things like that. So I'm really excited about just seeing more male allies really just fight for the need for women to be in STEM. And the second thing that I would say I was excited about is being able to be in a digital age where you can be inspired by women that you see all the time. It's something that I'm excited about for the younger generations, because even if we can't necessarily reach all of them, social media is so impactful that if we put ourselves out there, if we keep being inspiring, they will see that it's possible and they'll see that the possibilities are infinite. And so overall, just with our National Girls Program, I think we'll only move forward, we'll get better. And I can't wait to see, yeah, I can't wait to see what new things we do. But overall, I think just as an organization, we inspire and we need to keep doing that.
So thank you. Thank you for taking the time.
Thanks so much, Jennifer. It's really nice talking to you as always.
Take care.